Did you know that over 60% of Americans have no investing portfolio at all? In this video, I'll guide you step by step on how to build an investment portfolio that helps you get set up for financial success. When I first started investing, I had no idea how to build an investment portfolio. Now, after years of experience and a few bumps along the way, I figured out the secrets to a successful portfolio. I'm Andy Tanner, and in today's video, I'll share with you my journey and show you how to build a strong investment portfolio from scratch. Now, I know what you're thinking. Investing's too hard, it's too complicated. Let me reassure you that it's not. Learning how to invest is a skill that's easy to hone with a little bit of time and effort, pays off huge in the long run. So, in today's video, I'll explain what an investment portfolio even is and the types of investments you can make. I'll give you a beginner investing strategy that's super easy to follow, and stick around until the end because I'll give you some of my favorite tips and secrets that I've learned from so many years investing in the markets. So first of all, if you're a beginner and you want to build an investment portfolio, what is an investment portfolio? It's simply a collection of what's in your asset column. You know, when you look at a financial statement, there's 6 numbers there: income, expenses, cash flow, asset, liability, net worth. Well, your investment portfolio is what is in that asset column. It's the things that you buy with the intent to have cash flow, a net worth, or even protection. And that's your investment portfolio. So I could have real estate in my portfolio with oil wells in my portfolio, maybe some gold as part of the portfolio. And one of my favorite things for a beginner is stocks. Now, why do I like stocks for a beginner? Well, this can be dangerous ground because when you look at 401ks, there's probably not another asset class that has more participation without proper education than stocks. Investing in a business, that takes some money and some know-how even to get in the game. You know, if you're going to raise money for real estate, you're going to need some investing and some know-how even to get into that game. So the reason I love stocks so much is because I don't need to have the business genius to really enter the fray on my own. What do I mean by that? The reason I like beginners to start their portfolio with simple shares of stock is because they can partner with the geniuses of the world. If you locked me in my garage and said, Andy, you can't come out until you've designed and produced an iPhone, I'm going to be in that garage for a long, long time. In fact, I'm never getting out. But the late Steve Jobs says, I have genius. I know how to build an iPhone, an iPad, and I know how to put 300 million of them around the world. Tell you what, Andy, I will share my genius with you. You can have a few shares of my business, my genius, my IP, and you can participate in that part of our gross domestic product where I produce iPhones. I don't know anything about petroleum engineering, but I can buy a share of ExxonMobil, and all those people who manage it and all those people who drill for the oil and refine it, they all now partner with me where I don't need to have the genius. Warren Buffett, who I believe is among the greatest investors of all time, built his investment portfolio exactly that way. He never really started a business. He doesn't have a great patent or invention to his name. He simply found great businesses from See's Candies to Fruit Loom underwear and bought those businesses. And in the large business, he's bought a portion of those businesses like Apple, Chevron, Moody's, and American Express. These businesses allow him to participate in the lowest level of American business. If you don't want to go work at a job, own the company. If you don't want to drive the truck for Coca-Cola, own the Coca-Cola company. So I very much like people investing in a few shares of stock to leverage the genius of the inventors and the entrepreneurs, where you can literally share in their process, in their profits, in their ownership through stock ownership. It's fast, it's a click of a mouse away, and you can begin to buy assets. Of all the assets that you were to acquire, cash flowing assets, a stock that pays a simple dividend can surprise you. You know, in COVID, I remember that I picked up a bunch of shares of ExxonMobil, probably in the 30s or so. Man, what a great price to be able to get a share of some of those companies. And more important than the growth they've had since then, like $100 or around there of growth, it's been better to have the monthly cash flow every single month. So don't try to tackle the world. Don't try to go from 0 to 60 in 1 second. Find a business that you like and participate. Let me give you a little bit of confidence if you're a beginner. go to Costco this weekend and just watch a pattern. In fact, go there every weekend. I'll predict the future. I'll predict what's going to happen with Costco. This Saturday, there'll be a large crowd there, enormous. People will be waiting in the line with money in hand, trying to hand it to Costco and all of the businesses that have their products in that store. 100% of the time, the money will move out of the consumer's pocket into the pockets of the businesses. This is an easy thing to predict. So if you have the confidence to buy at Costco, you should also have the confidence to sell their products and look at what's in that shopping cart and simply pick some of those great businesses. Warren Buffett has been labeled the Oracle of Omaha. I disagree with that. I don't think he can predict the future at all. I don't think he knows where things are going to go tomorrow. He often talks about the vicissitudes and ups and downs of the market. But what he does know is what direction that cash is going to flow, and you don't need to be an oracle to know that. He's got some great companies. Apple, he's owned shares of. He's owned shares of Moody's and American Express. These are not the best companies in terms of capital gain in the market, but they're solid companies. And there's companies that you can own too. So when you approach this as a beginner, take a small amount of money because stocks are also scalable. It's pretty difficult to go out and get into real estate if you're starting off at square one, because you're going to look at least 7 figures to go out and buy a duplex somewhere and finance that. That's a big place for people starting out with nothing to start. But if you're starting out with very little, you can look at your budget and you say, instead of buying this doodad, I think I'll buy a couple of shares of stock. And next thing you know, you've got something in your asset column. Go buy a little silver round. Next thing you know, a kid that's 14 years old has something in his or her asset column. So starting a portfolio is actually pretty easy, and it's more important that you start than where you start, and it's more important when you start than how much money you have. So I invite you to get started and learn a little bit about stocks. Now, there are 4 things to close with, 4 things you want to learn for any investment portfolio. I call these the 4 pillars of investing. The first one is understanding what a good investment looks like, the fundamental things that should be there that signal a great investment. Well, fundamentals, if we get a look at those, we could call that fundamental analysis, and that's exactly what it's called. Learning how to analyze an investment is a skill that is learnable. Number 2, we have technicals. That's the study of price movement. I mentioned I've been able to pick up stocks from time to time in crashes where the prices are low. That's actually what I root for. I love a good crash because now the assets are on sale. The third one is called cash flow. That's where you're positioning yourselves for rent, or you're pushing yourselves for growth, or you position yourself for protection. Those types of assets, they can do all 3. Am I looking for a capital gain? I prefer cash flow, or am I trying to protect myself with a hedge? And then finally is risk management. Hey, there's unknown things. I've had stocks go up and I've had stocks go down. I've made money in real estate. I've lost money in real estate and business. And so understanding how to handle the twists and turns of the market through risk management will be key. So if you can learn those 4 pillars, if you can start in stocks with just very little money, you can be the proud owner of some great businesses, at least a share of them, without having to scale up too large, and you can start small, and you can have an investment portfolio that every quarter will pay you a dividend, and now you've got the chance to reinvest. Now that you know how to start building your own investment portfolio, you might be wondering, how much of my income should I invest? I made a video answering that exact question, and you can find this here. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next one.